Rachel Zegler has officially been cancelled after dramatically walking off stage during a live performance of Evita mid-show, forcing her understudy, Bella Brown, to step in and unexpectedly become the star of the night. At the end of the day, this whole situation is less about talent and more about watching someone with an inflated sense of self finally get brought back down to earth. And when it comes to Hollywood spectacle, this kind of mess is the sort you can't look away from. Disney is now scrambling to do damage control, muzzling Rachel from media appearances while audiences are actively calling for her to be replaced. Some people just can't stop self-sabotaging. It was a typical July 24th evening at Evita, lights dimmed, Act 1 wrapped up, and the crowd filtered into the lobby expecting to return in a few minutes for the iconic "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" scene. That's the moment everyone came to see. That's the showstopper Rachel was cast to deliver. But instead of returning, she vanished, just disappeared without a trace. Eyewitnesses told E! News that about 15 minutes into the break, the theater finally announced that Bella Brown, the understudy someone Rachel had never even publicly acknowledged, would be finishing the show in her place. Yes, the lead actress just bailed as if it were open mic night, and the bewildered audience, they had to sit there in confused silence for almost 45 minutes, waiting for the second act to resume. That's longer than a lot of modern-day relationships. After the performance, Bella posted on Instagram saying the night proved just how vital swings and understudies are to live theater, calling them the backbone of the production. She ended with, "A proud day to be part of Evita." Meanwhile, Rachel was already listed to return for the July 25th evening performance, like nothing ever happened. Here's the kicker: when Bella finally appeared on that legendary balcony to sing the song Rachel couldn't be bothered to perform, the audience erupted, standing ovation. The kind that rattles the rafters and bruises egos. If Andrew Lloyd Webber earned any royalties that night, it was thanks to Bella's performance, not Rachel's ghosting. While ticket buyers were left wondering where Rachel was, she apparently decided to sing the iconic number on a balcony outside, for free, to a bunch of randoms on the street. You can't make this stuff up. Bella, for her part, handled the situation with pure professionalism. No shade, no bitterness, just a simple statement recognizing the importance of performers who show up when it counts. It was a proud moment for Bella and a humiliating one for Rachel. And the irony. Rachel was scheduled to be back on stage the very next day, because of course she was. Vanish one night, act like Beyoncé the next. Meanwhile, Snow White, the film that tanked so badly it only managed around $50 per screen over Mother's Day weekend, somehow shot up to become Disney Plus's top streaming title. And while that sounds like redemption, it's not. This wasn't a one-off blunder. That extended 45-minute intermission turned into a real-time Twitter roast. Audiences shifted instantly from "Where's Rachel?" to "Bella's our queen." Now, it was more than just applause, it was a full-on digital takedown. Suddenly, Rachel was no longer the lead. She was the liability. The show's narrative shifted in one night. And Rachel got erased from the story she was supposed to headline, and that standing ovation Bella received. That was the real climax of the night, not a dramatic high note or a glittering finale. Rachel wasn't in the credits for that applause. She was in the footnotes of a PR disaster. Let's break down the timeline. 15 minutes of confusion, 30 minutes of backstage panic, then Bella walks out and nails it. That wasn't just was a headline event. Rachel's publicist probably developed an ulcer during that intermission. But is anyone actually shocked at this point? Rachel Zegler was once Hollywood's golden girl, plucked from a pool of 30,000 hopefuls to lead West Side Story, the youngest winner ever of a Golden Globe for Best Actress. She was meant to be a real-life Cinderella story, but now, it's starting to look more like a villain origin story. Her trajectory has turned into a punchline. The girl who somehow tanked her stardom before even reaching box office glory. From the Snow White backlash to political rants, to now, disappearing mid-performance. Rachel has become Hollywood's most consistent source of drama. Her career path is so predictable, you could set a clock by it. One minute she's making headlines for her talent, the next she's trending for another mess. What was supposed to be a fairy tale has turned into a cautionary tale about unchecked ego. Hollywood thought they had a superstar. Turns out they just hired a lightning rod in a ball gown. And let's talk about that box office. Snow White is projected to rake in just $50 million during its opening weekend in the US and Canada. At first glance, that might sound okay until you compare it to The Lion King's $192 million. Debut or Beauty and the Beast's $175 million. Rachel's version, it limps in at $50 million, dragging with it all the weight of controversy and public fatigue, and what's Disney doing to promote it? Absolutely nothing. The promotional silence is deafening. Why? Because their lead actress is now a certified PR risk. They're afraid of giving her a mic. Marketing has officially gone radio silent. This whole situation boils down to one massive PR fumble. A timeless classic turned into a polarizing mess because of one person. Rachel tried to modernize Snow White, but audiences collectively said, "Nah, we're good." The disaster didn't stop at her Evita walkout. The film's press campaign became a joke. On March 5, 2025, the planned glamorous London premiere was scrapped. Instead, Disney moved everything to Spain. Loki, secret location, barely any press. They were clearly just trying to keep Rachel away from microphones. Then came the so-called LA premiere on March 15th. Another PR dodge, no red carpet interviews, no reporters grilling Rachel about her infamous stalker prince. Quote, instead, Disney handpicked photographers and even brought in Jodie Benson, the original voice of Ariel, to do interviews, essentially babysitting Rachel on press day. Meanwhile, Martin Kleba, who plays Grumpy in the film, didn't sugarcoat anything. He outright said that all this mess stems directly from Rachel's endless controversies. Disney's game plan was obvious. Fewer questions, fewer disasters. They practically built a PR panic room around her. Rachel wasn't doing press tours. She was being gagged like a toddler throwing a tantrum in a candy store? When your lead princess can't even handle a press junket. You don't have a marketable movie, you have a PR ticking time bomb. And let's not forget the infamous dwarves debacle. After Peter Dinklage criticized the original portrayal, Disney scrapped the 7 dwarves entirely and replaced them with vague magical creatures. Instead of hiring talented actors with dwarfism, they handed the roles over to CGI fluff no one asked for. The backlash was immediate. Jason Acuna, aka Wee Man from Jackass, called them out for taking jobs from real actors. Set photos leaked, memes exploded, and Disney panicked again. They went back, reshot scenes, and added even worse CGI, resulting in a full-year delay. And even though Rachel didn't make that call, she became the face of it. Because at this point, her name is synonymous with disaster. To make matters worse, she repeatedly trashed the 1937 classic. She called the prince creepy and stalkerish. Ironically, that's how her fans feel about her behavior. And who could forget her iconic line, "I'm not bleaching my skin for this role." Cool, no one asked you to, but thanks for turning an innocent casting into a war zone. Rachel bragged that her Snow White wasn't about love or a prince, but about leadership and independence. Great, except the audience wanted nostalgia, not a TED Talk. Disney scrapped, "Someday my prince will come," and forced in a bland, forgettable replacement. Rachel smugly stated, "We didn't do that this time." Like it was some revolutionary flex. If insulting a classic wasn't enough, she then asked fans to pay to see the film. That's not confidence. That's straight-up delusion. And then came the political grenade, her rant that Trump supporters shouldn't know peace. Yep. Because nothing says family-friendly Disney princess like attacking half the country. Megyn Kelly lost it on live TV, called Rachel a pig, and demanded her firing. Honestly, it's hard to disagree. Rachel practically handed her the torch. By February 2025, even Vulture published a piece revealing the obvious. Disney was terrified of its own audience. They were realizing, too late, that fans weren't on board with their agenda anymore. Let's be real, when Ezra Miller was out here getting arrested and screaming at cops, Warner Brothers still tried to manage him. Disney gave Rachel the exact same treatment, but without any criminal charges. She wrecked her movie just by talking. Disney begged her to stop. They called her team, tried to rein her in, but Rachel kept pushing, thinking authenticity meant being reckless. And sure, a lot of hardworking people put their blood, sweat, and tears into Snow White, but Rachel tanked the entire ship in record time. She didn't just drop the ball, she launched it into orbit. Between flaking on Evita, disrespecting Disney's legacy, and alienating the fanbase, she created the ultimate guide to self-sabotage. And make no mistake, this wasn't just a PR blip. It was someone showing the world she truly thinks she's untouchable.